Welcome back to the Beginner Rhythm and Counting series, a wonderful workshop for you or anybody who are learning to read and count music, because rhythm is number one, and understanding how rhythm works and how counting works when reading music is very, very important for that big reason. We are on lesson number 5. This is sheet 1.4. If you've been following along with this series, thank you very much. It's a wonderful thing to have you with me again. And there's so much more to come. There's level 2 that's up next. This is the last part of level 1. And then there's also level 3 within the beginner series. Now, just to where to get it, you can go to proteanman.com. That's protein. It's right here at the top. And you can also type in /music-education, or just hover over the courses and come down to music education. And it's right there for you. You will be presented with this page right here, and you can click the image for this exact video, the Beginner Rhythm and Counting series, which will take you to the product page right here. Now, what this is it is a package for anybody learning to read music, play music, understand music, anything to do with music, because rhythm is super important and it focuses on rhythm and how that works. It's a massive, massive package. It has 3 levels, and each level has 5 different worksheets, and each worksheet I go through in these videos that you're watching right now and just explain how it all works in as clear and concise of way as I possibly can. I've been doing this and teaching this exact package to my students for over a decade, so I promise you it works. I've tested it on all of them, thousands of students, and I've never had a single student fail this course. It meant to be laid out in a simple way, and it grows off each previous level. If you get this package, which I hope you do, you'll get an email. Just there's a link in that email to download everything, and do not delete the email, FYI. Keep that email forever. If you do delete it for some reason, you have to re-download the package, just send me a message. You can click the contact button at the top right on my website here, proteanman.com, or you can click the have a question button, and you can ask me anything as well. Comments, ideas, whatever you want to say, I will get back to you as soon as I possibly can. Sometimes I get a lot of emails, and I do my best. So just be patient, and I will answer you in the most concise way I possibly can, because this entire thing is meant for education. So thanks very much, and I look forward to working with you even more in the future. Let's get right back into it. So that's my big spiel for every single video. We are doing sheet 1.4 at the very top. It should say 1.4 at the very top here, just like that. That's 1, but this is 1.4. And we are going over a few things before we get right into it, which are the 3 important rules. These rules apply to every single one of my sheets. They apply to everything to do with counting, and even in the future when you're going beyond this course and other courses, it applies to all of those as well. When you are reading music, playing music, you want to make sure you show each beat. You also want to make sure that you don't add extra stuff. So only show what's needed. Don't overcomplicate it. If there's nothing there, you don't need to write something. It just adds confusion. The other thing is you want to write clearly and concisely. I tell my students this is mostly for me, but maybe for you as well. Who knows? I have large writing. You want to write nicely and clearly, and that way it makes sense to you and everyone else who might be reading your music along with you. So this is 1.4. You can see right here the first 4 lines. There's 7 lines in total. We're going to get right into it with number 1. It's all recap. If you've been following along with the previous videos, the first 4 lessons, then you will understand everything on this page. It is not too complicated. It's just a different twist on those same concepts. So we have all 4 beats in the bar. We have eighth notes with the ands, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and we have rests. We have quarter rests, and we have quarter eighth notes, or rest eighth notes. I mixed up for a second there. So we start off with 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are pretty large numbers there. Usually I write a bit smaller. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Quarter notes and quarter rests. They both are equal to the exact same thing back and forth. 1 you play and 1 you do not play on. There's the bar line, so we start again with 1, 2. Totally wrong. I apologize. I'm still thinking back here. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then back over here with the rests. It's the same idea. These are eighth rests. These are eighth notes. They are both worth the same size, the same value, which means we count them as the same. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now, I make mistakes like writing 2 back here. I hope you make mistakes too, because guess what? It's part of being a human being. It's part of learning. It's important. And if you are totally fine with those mistakes and you just fix it as best as you can, and you move forward, that's how we all learn, because we never learn from doing it perfectly. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and we are finished. That's it. Number 1 is counted. The next step is the big step. It's the most important step on top of counting, and that is clapping, playing, understanding how that beat works. We have a metronome running in the background. You hear that click. That click is every single beat. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's steady. It doesn't slow down, doesn't speed up. And your job is to follow that metronome and match up certain notes and certain rests, especially with the beat. So here's my hands. I clap, you clap, follow me, copy me exactly as best as you can. Here we go, all together, clapping and counting out loud. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now I went like this for the rest to show you that I'm not making a sound. You don't have to do this. This is just a sort of a beginner way of showing that all the rests are there. Next up is for you to repeat. So if you made a mistake, you can always rewind this video and do that exact same thing over and over until you get it correct. In the meantime, you come back to number 2. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. There's the bar line. 1, 2, 3, 4. All quarters, quarter notes, quarter rests. And there's the bar lines. So remember, the bar lines reset. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. Quarter, quarter. There's no ands on a quarter. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And last bar, 1 and 2 and 3, 4. Now, really big hint, you should not be copying me. Your goal is to have this already written out or figured out in your head. If you're just watching the videos, all you do is pause it and clap and count as best you can using the current knowledge you have. And then what you do is you follow me along with the rest of it, and we can check your answers. But your goal is to do it by yourself before you hear the answers. So here we go. Number 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4. Really simple stuff. I hope that made a lot of sense for you. I even hope you got it perfectly correct the very first time. If not, again, just rewind the video and do it again. So here we go. Number 3, counting all together. You've already finished this on your own page. You printed it out and you've done it already. And now you're just checking your answers, or you have done it in your head ahead of time. A bit of a pun there. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Last bar, 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and. My students today called me Bob Ross because they know I'm making these videos, and they said I sound like Bob Ross sometimes, which I took it as a great compliment. Wonderful guy. Bob Ross, the painter on TV from years and years ago. You can ask your parents about him. I think there's t-shirts with him on him. He's kind of a cult classic now. Number 3, counting and clapping all together. Copy me, do everything I do, and hopefully you do it exactly the same as me without even having to think about it. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 3 and 4, and 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1, 2 and 3 and 4, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1, 2 and 3 and 4, and I almost made a mistake at the end there. Now, if you're wondering why we're doing all these rhythms, it's just practice. Counting these things, really, they all break down to the same thing in the end. You're just counting the beats. But clapping them, these different combinations, really builds a repertoire inside your head. A repertoire you might not know is there, but it builds something that you can use in the future because you might come across some of these rhythms in a song you're playing. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now you notice how we're skipping the joined together eighth notes now. We used to have them here all joined together in groups. Now we're getting single eighth notes. They're on their own. They still have that single wing there. So watch it, and then they have the single eighth note that connects them. So really, if you break it down, this is like this. Same as this here. This one and this one are the same, except we don't play on the and. 1 and 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4, and. There we go. Number 4 is finished with the counting. Next up, we are going to clap and count all together. Same thing, same old story. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4, and that's it. I almost made a mistake over here, this area. I was just looking up for a second, so it happens, but I caught it just in time. And really, if you want to break it down even more, turn that off for a second, then all we're really doing is that's a really ugly quarter note. All we're really doing here is playing quarter notes, but extra short quarter notes, which you do see written in music where they want you to play it really short. So it might sound like a quarter note, but it's written like a single eighth note with the rest. So it's just another way of getting you to play or perform extra short. Next up, we have the last 3 lines. Very exciting stuff. Here we go with number 5. All together, counting. You've already finished this line, so all you have to do is check your answers with 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And there's the bar line. Put a 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I'm going to go over this bar in a second. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And there's the bar line. So I put a 1, 2, 3, 4, and. Really easy stuff. Now, look at this bar here because we have it. You might get confused. I can see my students doing this sometimes when they first learn, is you have the eighth notes like the previous bar in number 4, the line number 4, right? But just make sure you're watching where the common denominator is, where you have the common denominator in this bar is an eighth note. It's the smallest note size. So in here, I'd have 2 eighth notes, right? In this one beat, 2 eighth notes in this one beat, 2 eighth notes here, and they're all lined up because we have eighth and eighth, and then 2 eighth notes here. So in the bar, I have all my eighth notes, and I'm just picturing in my head where those eighth notes are because they run invisible through this bar. The common smallest note. In this bar, the common smallest note would be a quarter note, not an eighth note. But here it's the same idea, right? Just to put this in a bit of perspective for you, eighths, there's 2 more eighths inside that quarter note. And then we have 2 eighths here. I'm spreading them out because it is spread out. 1 eighth here and an eighth note here. Eighth rest here and an eighth note there. So you see where that common path is, the common denominator of the eighth note. And this is one way to think about it, where you're breaking it down in your head. You can even draw it just like this, but that's the basic sense of it. So let me just erase this to make it easy for you to see, and that way we won't confuse ourselves when we are counting along. There we go. Here we go. Ready? Number 5, clapping and counting. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4 and. Done. Now the hard part was this bar right here with the offbeats. 1, 2, 3 and 4 and. Now again you have that 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 4 and forever. It's the offbeat. It's an important thing, and it becomes a feeling for you as you work through these things. And as you go in the next levels, you'll see more and more of this, especially with the dotted notes in level 3, but we're not there yet. So here we go. Number 6, we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. Here's a 1 and 2, 3, 4, and 1 and 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and there's the bar line. So I have a 1 and 2 and 3, 4. Really basic stuff. When you break it all down, rests or notes, it doesn't matter. It all falls down to that common denominator that runs through the entire line. Clapping and counting. You can always rewind it. Make a mistake, that's okay. Just rewind it and do it again. 1, 2, number 6. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1 and 2, 3, 4, and 1 and 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1 and 2 and 3, 4. Or that last bar. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. Again, 1 and 2 and 3, 4. You get that feeling going as you pull these eighth notes into the offbeat, because they're just bouncing off the beat. So that metronome pulse, 1, 2, that you hear ticking along, all you're doing is bouncing off evenly. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and all the way through. I'm positive it's making sense to you. If it's not, again, just leave a comment or a question on my website and I will answer you as best as I can, because it is all here to help you out. Number 7, very last one. This is a mix and mash of everything in this sheet, so it is the most challenging out of all the lines. I can see there's lots of offbeats in this part, but there's a bit of a pattern to it, and you'll see it in a sec. Here we go, counting. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. That common eighth denominator, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. All there. 1 and 2, 3 and 4, and 1 and 2, 3 and 4, and 1 and 2, 3 and 4, and 1 and 2, 3, 4, and that's it. Now let's try clapping this all together. Do your best. Forget the rest. 1, 2, number 7. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2, 3 and 4. 1 and 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3, 4 and. Now that might have been confusing as we sort of go back and forth between on and off the beats. But by all means, rewind the video, do it again, do it again, do it again, and I promise you it will make sense. Most of the time, like anything in music, it is just about that repetition. Practicing makes perfect. I know you've heard that 1,000 times, and I'm saying it to you again, but it really does make you perfect. You're never going to be perfect. That's not the point. But the idea is doing it over and over again makes it this automatic function. And if you can make seeing these rhythms, playing these rhythms, an automatic thing where you don't think about it, and all of a sudden you can focus on the more important things like your style, your tuning, your articulations, right? You want to get past the rhythms and the specific notes. So the pitches with your fingerings on the instruments or your voice, the way it sounds, you're listening to yourself. All these things, they come into play, but you want to get past the core basics of it, which is what we're doing right now, and you make it automatic. That's really it. It's that simple when you break it down. So thanks again for watching. I look forward to seeing you in level 2. Congratulations. And it is going to be exciting because we're going to be using half notes and whole notes, which really might be a bit easier for you as we just break into that larger than a beat pattern. Thanks again. I'll see you in the next video.